Welcome back, listeners. I'm Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. In today's episode, I wanted to speak about tears. I know a lot of people feel that crying is a weakness, especially for those who cry easily. But I feel that tears are divine protection. They're God's way of cleansing the soul, right? I know from personal experience, I know for one, when I'm in the presence of God, it brings me to tears. And it's not just, where you just shed a tear or two. For me, it's when it's that ball out, that ugly cry, you got the snotting and carrying on, like it's not a pretty cry, right? But it's a washing. God is cleansing our souls when we're crying. And I feel that when we're walking through life and when we're experiencing pain, heartache, regret, right? Or guilt, and it brings us to tears. It brings us to tears because it's also healing us. I know, I don't know the number, which number it is. I actually put a word together where I said, when your soul cries. That's what it was. When your soul cries. And let me find the number real quick, what episode that was. It was episode 208 on my podcast when it was called When Your Soul Cries. But it speaks about how tears are what heal your soul. Because I know when we're hurt, you got to remember that the enemy is out to kill, steal, and destroy. So in order for our souls to just not be just totally destroyed all the time, it's Holy Spirit who lives in us, right? So he allows us to cry because it's healing us. Even if you're going through a breakup or if you lose a loved one, you cry. And sometimes you may cry for days and days on end. But oftentimes those are cries that typically end up putting us to sleep, right? A lot of times when we feel a lot of pain and we're crying, it causes us to fall asleep. And I believe that spiritually, that's God protecting us. That's God knowing that our souls can only take so much. Therefore, we fall asleep, right? And then when we wake up, after we get finished crying ourselves to sleep, you kind of feel a little more refreshed. You feel a little bit better, even though it's still hurt. You're still hurting, but you still aren't hurting as badly because that's Holy Spirit who's protecting us by allowing us to cry and allowing it to cleanse our souls. And like I said, I call it the washing of tears. And I know that that Alicia Keys song, what was it called? These Tears Always Win. I love Alicia Keys. She has a phenomenal voice. So if you haven't listened to that song, please go and listen to it. It's called These Tears Always Win by Alicia Keys. But it I believe, she's talking about heartache. She's talking about loneliness, and these tears always win because, her significant other wasn't there to hold her at night and things like that. But I also feel the significance behind that of saying that the tears always win, because even though she's not with this significant other, her tears always win. She starts crying, but those tears aren't a weakness. Those tears are winning because those tears are actually what's healing her, and it's going to make her better, right? It's going to make you better to find the one that won't cause you to cry out of pain, right? They'll cause you to cry out of happiness. And that's the significance of tears, and why I feel that God's presence and why he allows tears is just to cleanse our souls and to wash that soul. And I believe those who laugh at your tears, because they do feel that tears are a weakness, right? They don't understand, how Holy Spirit operates, who lives in us, right? Who's always protecting us. They laugh at our pain. They laugh at our tears because, again, not to be redundant, but they find it as a weakness. However, they're the ones that should be, right? Because, like psychopaths and narcissists, right? They don't have the ability to feel. They don't have those emotions, so they don't cry. You'll find. I know me. I watch. What do you call it? ID Discovery or Investigation. I watch all of those channels. I watch all the crime channels, right? And even watching the Murdaugh murders and watching those things, you'll hear some of the detectives saying, "Well, did you see that he was crying without tears?" Right? Those tears are healing, right? God allows us to feel those tears because it's healing us, it's cleansing us, and it's actually kind of sad. And I feel that that's another reason why God tells us to pray for our enemies, because they're going through a battle. Not only do they dislike themselves, right? They hate themselves, but they're trapped in that darkness and not having the ability to cry, not having the ability to feel that emotion. It has to be sad, and that alone has to be painful. But I'm not saying to be vulnerable and just cry in front of everyone. And, especially I know for men, they feel that that's a weakness and they shouldn't be crying, right? But I'm saying is even when you're behind closed doors by yourself, take that time with God and just allow Him to cleanse your soul. And still, even though some people who maybe saw you cry or who have broken your heart and want you to cry, they enjoy your pain, still just take it up with God and allow God to handle it. Allow God to heal you, but also allow God to heal that situation. Let God take care of that person. Don't worry about revenge. Don't get on YouTube and wonder what this person may be feeling and what they're going through. Focus on you as an individual and you as in what God's going to do for you and your relationship with God. Again, I'm your host, Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. If you're navigating grief, toxic relationships, trauma, financial pressure, or the slow work of rebuilding after setback piled upon setback, this channel is for you. Our community now spans 118 countries, proof that real stories travel and that healing accelerates when we carry one another. Share your story, lend your voice, and let grace turn pain into purpose. Book your podcast in the link below and share your story. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good evening, and good night. Stay blessed.